Does this mean that even the Board of Control for Cricket in India will come within the purview of this legislation? What are the implications for an organization like the BCCI?
Yes, certainly. I mean, that's been hotly debated, and it's actually, in fact, making headlines on most of our newspapers and all the other sports channels that we are watching, whether BCCI would fall under the ambit of the proposed bill. Now, if you look at the way the bill is structured and the way it goes about in defining what a national sports body is, going by the definition, if I may just read out part of the definition, which sort of helps us understand what the bill says. A national sports body means a national sports governing body, such as the National Olympic Committee or the National Paralympic Committee or the National Sports Federation or the regional sports federations set up under Section 3 of the.
And that is
Yes.
basically a federation that is designated for each sport.
Exactly. If you look at clause 3 of the bill, it says a national sports federation for each designated sport. And if you're looking at this in terms of BCCI, the designated sport is cricket.
So then, plain reading of this bill suggests that
Yes.
the BCCI is, regulated by this legislation.
Yeah.
We've seen this before on numerous instances.
Yeah.
Just exactly a decade ago, we
Yeah.
had Justice Lodha's committee actually propose a major set of administrative reforms in the BCCI.
Yeah.
And we've gone round and round and round. Even the most, I would say, passionate fan of the Indian cricket team, and as much as you are a nationalist in India, will turn around and say that the BCCI as a body remains as political as it was prior to the reforms proposed by the Lodha Committee. So, why is this attempt at bringing the BCCI under legislative scrutiny different? And do you think there are any get out of jail provisions in this legislation where the BCCI can say, look, this legislation doesn't apply to me?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the first part of your question, its proposed bill is not only to bring BCCI under the purview, but pretty much it's applicable to any and all sporting federations that are recognized in our country. But interestingly, the get out of jail type of provision, if there's anything of such sort that's been there in the bill, yes, there is an exemption enabling provision that's actually provided for in the bill, where the central government, in consultation with the National Sports Board and the international governing body of the respective sport. So here for BCCI, it would be the ICC. So in consultation, there is a possibility for BCCI to get an exemption, provided that, of course, provided that it applies for the exemption, which pretty sure that they might be doing it at whatever point in time, but that's up for debate then. But this enabling provision sort of allows BCCI to not be governed under this bill, partly or in entirety.
So, for the benefit of the viewers, what's the specific provision in the bill which you can point them towards?
Of course. So, it's clause 34 of the bill where it says if the central government considers it necessary and expedient so to do in public interest for the promotion of the specific sport discipline consistent with the spirit of good governance enshrined in the Olympic Charter. It may, in consultation with the board, and by board they mean the National Sports Board, and the concerned international sports body, by notification, direct that subject to such conditions and restrictions, if any, and for such period as may be specified in the notification, all or any of the provisions of this Act or any rule or regulation made thereunder shall not apply to a national sports body or its affiliate under.
As I heard you read out this provision, a few thoughts that crept into mind was one, it's not only about the BCCI making an application. One, here, it's actually providing for a discretion of the central government in consultation with the National Sports Board, and in this case, the ICC, which is the International Cricket Council. Right? So, to me, it seems like this is, of course, a fairly elaborate process. I would believe that there will have to be reasons because it's saying necessary and expedient to do so in the public interest. So, what is public interest is also a matter of interpretation. And, and it has to be done through a notification as well. So, I would imagine that this will be subject to judicial scrutiny, especially if they try and exempt themselves from certain key provisions in this particular legislation as well. Interesting, but what it also tells me is that it's not as cut and dry as the mainstream media is making it out to be. The BCCI will definitely come within the purview of this bill. There is enough scope in the language of clause 34 to suggest that the BCCI can still find a way to wriggle out of the applicability of this legislation. And from past experience, I would say there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. Yeah. So I'm going to wait till the bill actually sees, passage through both houses of the parliament before actually coming to a conclusion that the BCCI is definitely being brought within the purview of this legislation.